Okay, well, welcome back everyone to the Camino del Pasta tour. This is going to be part 2 of the tour. If you haven't seen part 1, I would definitely encourage you to go back and check that out. I will put a link in the description for you if you haven't seen the video. For everyone else who has seen part 1, I will need to get this trip back on the road. So, on the last video, I left you in the middle of a field with flowers on the way to Waseca del Campo, which is a pueblo mágico in the middle of the Mexican National Park of El Chico. So remember those horses that stopped us in the last video? While we were on the way to Huasca del Campo, which is about 20 miles from where we last saw the horse procession, we saw them again, but this time there were definitely a lot more of them. What was happening is every time they launched a firework, more horses would join the procession. It was definitely a sight to be seen.
Un bebé ahí, asustado. Y cada pueblito van agarrando más gente.
Sí, efectivamente.
Luckily for us, we were able to get a break in the procession and we made our way into Waseca del Campo. As mentioned, Waseca del Campo is a pueblo mágico. It is known for being a mining village, but it is also a town in the middle of the forest, so people like to tell stories of how the duendes, translated to forest creatures, like to come into town and take things from the people who forget to put away their belongings. The town has a nice church. I didn't film much inside because they were having mass and I felt that it would have been inappropriate to film during mass. Outside the church there was two, quote, duendes, which you could take a picture with for 10 pesos.
A ver cuánto cobran. Puede ver.
The reason why this tour is called El Camino del Paste is because of the English pasty. When Spain was kicked out of Mexico in 1824, the English came in and took over all the mining operations. The biggest of these operations was in a town called Mineral del Monte, where every year they have a festival for the pasty, which is now the state dish of Hidalgo. As you can see here, the streets of Mineral del Monte, also known as Real del Monte, are very small. In many areas, only one car can get through at a time. Despite this, however, the fair is an international affair. This Land Rover caravan is carrying the British ambassador to Mexico.
Sí. Ese Range Rover tiene placas de embajador.
During the festival, the city center is filled with stands selling not only pasties, but many different things produced in the mountains. My taxi cab driver told me the area is also well known for silver. Walking down the cobblestone streets, there is definitely an English twist going on the architecture. It feels like an English village. There are no big plazas, but there's lots of pubs and a few parks. Despite being an English village, the people are still Catholic. The main church is called El Templo de Nuestra Señora del Rosario. The church was first established in 1563 and has been remodeled over the years. So of course, after talking so much about pasties, I had to try one. We went to El Portal, which has won Best of Festival 4 years running.
The ones that have this cord on them are potato, and these are dessert vanilla ones. And that's hot chocolate.
After eating our pasties, we climbed up the hill to go to the Old English Cemetery.
We are at the English Cemetery, which was established in 1862 to bury those that used to work for the Cornish Mining Corporation. They're all in English, of course. This is known as the tomb of Richard Bell, who was a clown. He was the last person to be buried here in the early 1900s.
Unfortunately, it's obvious that many of the tombs have been broken into, which is kind of sad, but I guess that's the way it goes.
Edward Rellentuck, formed of Troon Camborne, who died at Pachuco, Mexico, April 1895, 52 years old. John C. Polax and Jane Polax, who died at 88 years old, and their daughter Grace. Over here, this sign you can see is Isaac Edward Richards, who died in a mining accident and died, and his wife also died pretty young. They both died at 26 years old. But the good thing is their children lived a lot longer.
On the way out of town, you can see the remnants of the mining operations.
Ya estoy bien.
Also on the way out of town is the Pasty Museum, where for 35 pesos you can learn to make your own pasty. But I was so full we skipped it. Anyhow, it wasn't like I was going to win the Pasty Festival anyways.
On my right here you can see an old abandoned hacienda. Somebody's just leaving there.
Well, this is the end of the tour. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on our next adventure.